There are words we hear, but never really listen to. They sound ordinary, reassuring, sometimes even cheerful. But in the final moments of life, they carry the weight of a lifetime. Picture this. You're sitting beside a loved one. The room is quiet. The machines beep steadily. And then, almost casually, they say, "Don't worry about me." Or maybe, "I'm fine." Simple, short, familiar. But these aren't just words. They're shields. They're goodbyes in disguise. They're the quiet echoes of a heart trying to make peace. Not just with their own life, but with your pain, too. In this video, we're going to explore the 5 most common things elderly people say before they pass, and what they really mean. Not the medical signs, not the textbook symptoms, but the human signs, the ones that whisper instead of scream. These words often go unnoticed until it's too late. And then they replay in our minds, again and again. If you've ever lost someone, you may have heard these phrases and wondered, did I miss something? If you still have your parents or grandparents, you might hear them soon and not realize their weight until years later. Stay with me. These 5 phrases may change how you see your loved ones forever. We all know that death is part of life. But when it comes for someone we love, a parent, a grandparent, an old friend, it never feels like just a natural step. It feels personal, heavy, final. And yet, in those last days or hours, they often don't say much. No dramatic speeches, no emotional breakdowns, just a few words. Quiet, measured, sometimes even cheerful. And because they sound so simple, we brush them off. They told me they were fine. They said not to worry. They wanted me to go back to work. They said we'd do it next time. You've probably heard one of these before. Maybe all of them. You might have even said them yourself to someone you love, trying to ease their mind. But here's something we rarely stop to ask. What if those were their last words, because they were trying to protect you? In this video, we're not going to talk about medical signs of death. We're not going to list symptoms or timelines. Instead, we're going to talk about something much deeper. The emotional language of saying goodbye. These 5 phrases may seem harmless on the surface, but when spoken by someone nearing the end of life, they often carry powerful hidden meanings. Regret, love, fear, hope, and above all, the desire to leave us with peace, not pain. We created this video because too many people only understand these words after it's too late. And when that happens, they replay in our minds over and over again. What did they mean by that? Why didn't I say more? I thought we had more time. But here's the truth. Sometimes those final words are their way of saying everything, with as little pain as possible. So today, we invite you to listen again. Not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because once you understand what these 5 simple phrases truly mean, you'll never hear them the same way again. Have you ever heard something like this? Don't worry about me. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? Like something a strong, independent person would say to ease your mind. And most of the time, we take it at face value. We smile, we nod, we go back to work, or back to the kitchen, or back to our phones, because they said it was fine. They said not to worry. But here's what that phrase really means in the final stages of life. It's not about strength. It's about love. It's about letting go. When an elderly person says, "Don't worry about me, especially when they're sick, alone, or in pain. They're not brushing you off. They're trying to shield you from the fear that they're already carrying. They know what's coming, and they'd rather carry the weight quietly than pass it on to you. Let me tell you a story. A man named Robert, 82 years old, veteran, father of 3, spent his last days in hospice care. His daughter flew in from across the country to see him. She cried at his bedside, holding his hand. And he looked at her, smiled, and said, "Don't worry about me, kiddo. I've lived a full life. Go take care of the boys." He passed away 3 days later. For a long time, his daughter carried guilt. Should she have stayed longer? Should she have pushed harder? But over time, she realized, that wasn't a dismissal. It was a gift. His last act of love was to make sure she could move on without being burdened by his suffering. When someone says, "Don't worry about me," they're not asking for distance. They're asking for peace. They're saying, "Let me carry this part. You've carried enough." So what can you do when you hear it? You don't have to argue. You don't have to say, "But I am worried." Instead, respond gently. Sit down. Hold their hand. Look them in the eye and say something like, "I know you want me to be okay, but I want to be here with you." Or simply, "I hear you, and I'm not going anywhere." That small moment of presence can mean more than 1,000 words, because sometimes the best way to love someone is not by fixing their pain, but by staying with them in it. I'm fine. Two of the most common and most misleading words in the English language. We say it when we're not okay, when we're overwhelmed, when we're hurting, when we don't want to explain. And when elderly people say it near the end of life, it's often not a statement of health. It's a mask. Psychologists call this emotional masking, the act of hiding real feelings behind a socially acceptable front. It's a defense mechanism, and for many in the older generation, it's almost automatic. Think about it. They lived through war, loss, recessions, raising families without Google or therapy apps. They were taught to be strong, not complain, and keep going. So when pain comes, even the kind that signals the end, what do they say? I'm fine. But here's the key. It's not what they say, it's how they say it. Pay attention to their eyes. Are they looking away? Are they avoiding your gaze? Listen to the tone. Is it rushed, flat, too casual? Watch their body language. Are they wincing when they move? Breathing a little too hard? Avoiding certain topics? These are the cracks in the mask. And if you notice them, it's not your job to call them out. It's your job to gently lean in. Instead of asking, "Are you sure you're fine?" Try something softer. What's been hardest for you lately? Or even, "You don't have to be strong for me. I'm here for all of it." By creating a safe space, you give them something powerful. Permission to feel. Permission to be vulnerable. Permission to be human, not a performance of strength. Because in the end, "I'm fine" doesn't always mean they are. And hearing beyond the words is one of the most loving things you can do. Just focus on your work. It sounds like practical advice, something a responsible parent or grandparent might say. But when it's spoken by someone near the end of their life, it often means something much deeper and far more heartbreaking. In American culture, we place tremendous value on productivity. Work isn't just what we do, it's who we are. We sacrifice family dinners, vacations, even holidays, all in the name of career goals, deadlines, and just one more meeting. So when an aging parent says, "Don't come visit, just focus on your work," what they're really doing is protecting you from the guilt of not being there. It's a silent sacrifice, a quiet kind of love that says, "I miss you. I wish you were here. But I won't say that, because I know you're busy." This phrase is especially common among older men, fathers and grandfathers who were raised in a time when showing emotion was seen as weakness, and success was measured by what you provided, not how you felt. So instead of asking for time, they push you away, not out of anger, but out of love. Take the story of Elaine, a busy lawyer in New York. Her dad was battling cancer back home in Iowa. Every time she called, he said the same thing. "Don't take time off. You've worked too hard for that job. Just focus on your work." So she did. She flew out only once, when he was in the hospital for the last time. After he passed, she found a stack of printed emails he had kept. Every message she sent, every little update. He had read every word. He was always watching, always caring. He just didn't want her to feel torn between him and her future. So what can we do when we hear this phrase? It's simple. Don't wait for them to ask. Make the call. Send the text. Take the weekend trip, even if it means missing one deadline. You don't need to do something grand. Sometimes just showing up, even for 10 minutes, says, "I heard what you said, but I love you more than my to-do list." Because when someone says, "Just focus on your work," what they often mean is, "Don't feel guilty for not being here." But deep down, they hope you'll come anyway. We'll do that next time. It sounds hopeful, light, reassuring. A promise that life goes on, that there's always another chance. But when it's said by someone nearing the end of life, it often masks something far more fragile. A quiet acceptance that there may be no next time. This phrase lives in the space between optimism and denial. For the person saying it, it's easier than facing goodbye. And for the person hearing it, it offers a way to postpone the pain. Let's be honest. How many moments have we delayed because we thought we had time? Lunch can wait. That trip to the lake house. Next spring. The birthday dinner. We'll catch up later. But for the elderly, especially those facing illness or decline, time doesn't stretch the way it used to. There's the story of Tom and his granddaughter, Lily. Every year, they went to a small-town baseball game together. It was their thing. But last summer, Lily had to cancel. Too much work, too many deadlines. "It's okay," Tom said. "We'll go next time." There wasn't a next time. He passed away in November. The truth is, we often delay moments thinking we're being responsible, when in reality, we're trading irreplaceable memories for temporary tasks. So, what do you do when someone says, "We'll do that next time"? You pause. You ask yourself, what if this is the last chance? And if it feels important, take the moment. Show up. Take the trip. Have the conversation. Because while next time sounds like a comfort, sometimes it's just a softer way of saying goodbye. And when they're gone, you'll never regret the things you did. Only the moments you assumed you'd get to do later. Take care of yourself. It's something we say all the time. After phone calls, when someone leaves the house, after a quick visit. It sounds casual, routine, almost automatic. But when it's said by someone who's fading, someone who knows their time is almost up, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a farewell. Not a loud, dramatic goodbye. Not, I love you, with tears. But something quieter, and in some ways, more heartbreaking. Take care of yourself, said slowly, intentionally, like they're passing the baton of life over to you. It's their way of saying, I may not be here to look after you anymore. So, promise me, you'll be okay. There's an elderly woman named Mrs. Green, a retired school teacher in Vermont. On her final morning, her son sat beside her, holding her hand. She looked at him, smiled faintly, and said, Take care of yourself, David. Those were her last words. Years later, David says that sentence replays in his mind more than any others. Not because of what she said, but how she said it. Slow, software, full of love, like a mother letting go, but still trying to protect him, even from the other side. If someone you love says this to you near the end, don't rush to respond. Pause, feel it, honor it, and then say something just as full of meaning. Like, I will, because you raised me to. Or, I'll take care of myself, and I'll never forget how much you cared. Because when they say, take care of yourself, they don't just mean physically. They mean emotionally, spiritually, entirely. It's not advice, it's a gentle goodbye. So let's take a moment to remember the 5 quiet phrases we often hear before someone we love slips away. Don't worry about me. A final act of protection. Love wrapped in strength. I'm fine. A mask worn by the brave, hiding a world of unspoken emotion. Just focus on your work. A silent sacrifice, saying, Your life matters more than my pain. We'll do that next time. A hopeful delay that sometimes never comes. Take care of yourself. The softest, most powerful goodbye. One that lingers long after they're gone. If you've heard these before, maybe now they sound different. Maybe they hit a little deeper. Maybe you're thinking about someone who said them to you and what they really meant. So here's what we ask you to do. Call your parents. Visit your grandparents. Don't wait for next time. Say what you've been meaning to say. Because once they're gone, the words they leave behind will echo forever. And so will the ones you didn't get to say back. Have you ever heard any of these phrases before? Tell us in the comments. Share your story. You never know who it might help. We'll pin the most heartfelt story to the top. And if this video touched you, like it, share it, and subscribe for more videos that speak to the heart. Don't let silence be your last memory.